Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Shriver. For those of you joining me for the first time, I'm very proud to be Maria's sister. Excuse me, Maria's my sister. Very proud to be her brother, and proud to be joining the Sunday Paper and Unite Media together in this initiative we have just begun the last few weeks of inviting America's teachers to teach the lessons that matter most to America's citizens. I've been very, very honored to be joined by Teachers of the Year, people like John Arthur, and last week, Kori Sanchez Smith, who is joining me right now, if I get it right, right there. There she is. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining me. For all of you who were not with us last week, Kori is a former fifth grade teacher, a teacher in the Atlanta Public Schools, a staff development trainer, the head of social and emotional learning in that very prestigious school district, and now an independent trainer for social and emotional learning around the country for teachers in schools, trying to implement high quality prevention curriculum that helps strengthen the social and emotional development of children. Welcome, Kori. Welcome back, I should say.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be back.
Thank you for joining us. It's a big day. We know the news of the day surrounds the Supreme Court decisions and the strong opinions that many Americans have about the country moving in the wrong direction, the country moving in the right direction. These things can bring up a lot of feelings for all of us, no matter what side of the divide we are on. You've thought a lot about how to help people focus and be connected to themselves in moments like this, Kori. What are the best strategies for figuring out who we really are, like what really is most important to us in a moment like this?
So I think that the gift that is actually free that we don't take enough is time. Really, time to be quiet with ourselves, time to erase the noise, to walk away from all the messages that surround us and just really dive into who we are as people. And so I'm thrilled to be here because I'm coming with a strategy that is applicable to classrooms, but really just human beings that are interested in figuring out more about themselves, where they stand on certain things, or just who they are.
It's funny you say that, because I think sometimes teachers, kids, all of us, we're doing so much, but we sometimes don't really know who we are. Like if you would ask me right now, who am I? The first thing I do is take a breath to try to make sure I understood the question deeply and tried to answer from a place of authenticity and honesty. Not sure I do a very good job on a day like today. How could I get better at it?
So practice, right? So once is not enough, and anything worth doing, you need to do more often than not. So if you're ready, I'd love to walk you through something called a postcard protocol.
Here I am. I'm ready. I'm your student.
Okay, great. So I'm going to show, do you see this picture here?
Hold on a minute now. I'm going to get my glasses so I make sure I see it accurately. Okay, I do. Yes.
So I would like you to tell me, why is this the perfect picture for you right now? How does this picture represent you today?
Well, I think this picture represents something that I feel today, which is that even in stone and rock and hard places, life can grow. I think it represents me because life is always reaching towards the light. And for me, I hunger. I would say I almost I feel starvation for light. That tree, that beautiful tree, seems to be reminding me that the light nourishes, that it's there. I also love this picture because it suggests rest. The background is the ocean, which is a great love of mine. My parents raised us, my sister, my brothers, and I around the ocean, especially in the summertime, raised us to love the ocean, to love nature. To always see in it something big and vast. So I love that. Just the view reminds me today of how much I'd love to be near the ocean, and how much when I see the ocean, I feel kind of connected to my deepest self.
So what's wonderful is in that 2-minute explanation, I learned so much about you. The first thing that came out was just like this strength and resilience, this growth, this perseverance, this striving for something bigger. And then you brought in your family and memories and home and love. And if I were starting, I would just stop right there. It was just an opportunity for me to understand kids and for kids to really understand themselves. Like, where do you rest? Where are you at your most peaceful? Who are you? But because you and I go back a whole 7 days, we're besties by now. I'm actually going to give you a second picture.
Okay.
Ask you this time, how does this picture represent where you want to go and who you want to be?
Okay, so I'm not a chess player. I mean, I know how to play chess. I'm wondering what our viewers are thinking on this one. So I'm immediately distracted and a little bit perplexed. Chess always reminds me that someone is about to get me. And I got to think 2 or 3 moves ahead. So I'm thinking this picture reminds me or makes me think that I have to be planful more than I sometimes am. I have to be, I have to look at a problem from many perspectives. Again, something sometimes I struggle to do because in chess, you know, you've got the bishop and the queen and the pawns and the castle, and they all move in different directions. So you've got to look at your move from each of their perspectives. And I've got to be reminded that, I hate to say this, but the world's a dangerous place. And so thinking ahead is the best way to ensure a safe outcome for myself and for others.
So it's interesting, and some of the viewers put strategy and thinking. They had their own reactions to the picture.
Good.
In the first photo, you talked really about being in the moment and really like almost coming from behind and kind of and handling your circumstances as they were, right? I'm surviving, I'm in this rock, but I'm growing. And the second picture, you spoke to like forward thinking and planning and strategy. And so I'm wondering for you, do you see a way you can take one step between the first picture and go towards the second?
I'd rather just stay in the first.
I'm sure you do.
But yes, of course. This is a wonderful skill. I'm just going to process this out loud. For anybody on this camera who's not doing this with me, anybody on the feed who's not doing it with me, try this. Maybe Kori, you can post these pictures for people on your site or something like that. But it's a good, I'm finding myself challenged to connect with my deepest, if I can put it this way, my deepest peaceful and contented self, and use that part of me, use the part of me that's happy, joyful, and reaching towards the light to develop the plans and strategies I need next. How do I keep those two together? That requires my daily meditation. I'm going to keep working on this one, but it's a beautiful exercise. I'm going to take it with me. I don't have an immediate answer. Should I?
But I think that's the answer. I think the answer is you don't know. And I think that's okay. And what I know, I don't give humans enough opportunity to just pause and think. And if I had a student that came to me and said, I really don't know, I would say, well, I don't either. But my job is to support you in figuring it out. So let's take the time to do that well, which is the gift that we talked about in the beginning. How do we give ourselves time to do the work to figure out who we are, what we want, where we want to go, and how we're going to do it?
Yeah. It's funny, you know, you mentioned this. I was listening to a talk yesterday from someone who said that this was somebody talking from a religious perspective. Sometimes God gives us a timeout. And in school, we think of timeout as punishment. You know, you're going into the timeout circle. You say to a child who can't control themselves, you need a timeout if you're misbehaving sometimes. But what I'm hearing you say, and what I heard yesterday, Maria talks about this quite a lot, as she gave a beautiful speech years ago called The Power, I believe, Maria, if you're on, you can correct me, The Power of the Pause. I think you're reinforcing that, right? Like, give our, maybe we can each give each other permission to take a time out in moments, especially moments like today, where we may need to know what our strategy is based on a deeper sense of ourselves. At least I feel like maybe I do. So you're kind of saying a timeout isn't punishment. A timeout is actually the necessary, maybe first step towards clarity and action that's consistent with who we really are.
I'm saying when you don't know, you don't know. And when you need time, you need time. And we all need to be okay with that. So I love that you don't know the answer, because it means there's more to explore.
Right. Right. So if you had a group of parents in the room today, and they were asking you, what are you teaching my child? Would you do an exercise like this with them? Would you invite them to participate in something like this?
Absolutely. So a lot of times when I support schools and districts, I offer a parent university, because I feel like lessening that confusion is how you get real collaboration between school and home. Like, how do we go through all the exercises and activities together? So not only do you feel peace in your heart about what we're doing in the school, but also you can reinforce at home and do the same activities with the people that you love, because there's really no reason why we wouldn't all want to do it together.
So great. So see how I did. I feel like the pictures, like you gave me a chance to use an image to go more deeply into who am I.
Yes.
I learned in this short lesson a little bit about who I am at my depth, who I am in the context of how I was raised as a person, and how I aspire to live.
Now, you brought that up.
Sorry, go ahead.
You brought that part up. I didn't.
Okay. Well, that's what I brought with the image. And then I a challenge to myself, which is, Tim, you need to think about how to build a strategy for your next steps in life based on who you are at your depth, and not just be reactive to what's going on around you. That's what I learned.
Right. And again, I just asked the question. You filled in the gaps, right? I didn't ask any of those things.
I know, it's so interesting, right? You just gave me a chance and I just went on and on. Now, those of you on the phone, don't be listening to me. Be doing this yourself. Join us in these exercises. You can see we've got a master teacher in Kori. She's teaching teachers all over the country. And if people ask you, what is social and emotional learning? Because people do ask me, they ask me this all the time. And I've been in the field since its inception. And maybe I've never gotten a great answer. Maybe what we can answer each other is just watch these exercises. This is social and emotional learning at its best. And I hope people are reminded that to know yourself is a critical link to learning in school. To know where you want to go, this in my case, is a critical skill to being happy and at peace and at rest with what you want to do with your life. And to have a teacher who's willing to help guide you is to make that teacher come to life in a way, I really want to learn more. So, Kori, if you were my math teacher or my social studies teacher or my science teacher, I would be so grateful to you after this exercise, so much more eager to learn the periodic table or the dates of an important historical event or the placement of the comma in a sentence or things like that. The rest of us are just happy that you're giving us the time to have a timeout and, at least for me, use that timeout for the better.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to help, and I hope we get to do this again.
Thank you, Kori. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to tune into the Sunday paper. Get the Sunday paper if you don't already online. Maria's paper is absolutely fantastic. Definitely food for the soul. Definitely food for our social and emotional lives. And both Kori and I are so thrilled to be part of it. Thanks, everyone.